super excited with the three players that we got to pick. I'll start with Ayana Martin with her seventh pick. I'll go back. I've been watching Iyana for the last 3 or 4 years and dreamt, last year when I was with the Valkyries that when I was there, we could get our hands on her. And, this year that such a generational talent is actually available at seventh outside of the lottery pick is just incredible. And I don't think we could, be happier and, to kind of invite Iyana to Portland. She's someone that carries her Spanish Avenida team and her national team on her shoulders. She's been an under-19 MVP, under-19 World Cup MVP. And if you look at the list of players that are up there with her, it's we have Paige, you have Asia. So it's just an incredible talent. And when I speak about her basketball skills, she can push the pace. One of the best players that can kind of read the pick and roll and break down, defense. She can stretch the floor, get to the hoop. So we thought she was just an amazing kind of fit for what our coaches wanted to do. Second pick, we got our hands on another international, Frida Buhner. Another young talent that kind of carries her national team on her shoulder with her age. A sniper, but can also kind of do damage around the hoop as well. Very excited. She's going to come out probably the next couple of days, so excited to welcome her in Portland. And then, in the last round, usually, the third round is very boring, but we managed to make it interesting and kind of successfully managed to trade up with Connecticut. So we got our hands on Sarah Williams from UConn. As Ashley mentioned before, apparently there's, you cannot have too many UConn players on your team ever. Another player that we think has a lot of potential, and with our coaching staff and in our system, we think we can develop, her into a really good player and pillar on our team. Defensively, we all know she's a monster, but can run the floor. But we're very confident we can develop her offensive game. Okay. Sorry, I'm tired. My brain is fried after this 2 weeks, so looking for kind of English words, but I'll do my best to answer your questions.
Vanja, is Ayana going to come over this year and play for the team, or is it a draft and stash kind of situation?
For this year, she's going to be a draft and stash. Yeah, we had a conversation with her, and it was her preference. It was kind of she knows exactly what she wants, and for this summer, she just said she needs rest. Last year, she went through a very serious stomach virus. I don't know if you remember during Eurobasket, she played, I think, 3 or 4 games, and then she ended up in the hospital for several days, and she still feels like she hasn't recovered really from that because she went straight from, playing from the national team, hospital, and then her season in Europe started. So for her body and for her mental health as well, she said she wants to kind of take the summer off and then focus with her national team on the World Cup.
Vanja, in a first round full of uncertainty and there's no consensus pick at each selection, how did your confidence go through each selection, knowing that Iyana would still be on the board at number 7?
We had our rankings and top players and how who we would pick if they're still on the board at 7. We were actually surprised that she was still available, so we were very happy that we got our hands on her. But we were all more nervous, weirdly, versus the expansion draft that we had 10 days ago, because I think there's less control in this NCAA draft. You don't know what teams will pick. So once Toronto picked, we were very happy that Ayana is going to come to us.
This draft class had so many big college names in it. Just what do you say to fans that maybe were hoping that there would be a big college name picked, and what your vision is when you go with these picks instead?
Yeah. Even if you zoom out, I think there's more international players, and you guys can tell me better probably, the numbers, more international players this year than ever before. You always also have to put into context that international players are 3 to 4 years younger than, the players that have just graduated from NCAA. And the fact that the 2 players that we took are carrying their national team on their shoulders at this age is just something you can't ignore. So what I say to the fans is just, please have trust in our, scouting department and our team that kind of we do watch across, globally what players are doing and the levels of the leagues they're competing at, and just want to give them a chance, I guess, to the fans in the community. Just, please go watch their highlights, what they do internationally, and then once they're here, just give them a chance.
How do you feel like the levels of the leagues these players are coming from in Europe compare to college basketball here in the U.S.? Because that's what most folks here would be familiar with.
Exactly. I'll take you back to the Luka Doncic draft, right? Everybody was surprised, and the only comment I heard, he's playing with grown men, since he was, 16. And that's exactly what these girls are doing. They're playing, with professionals and adult women and are carrying their teams on their shoulder. Ayana has the best production in the Spanish league, and I think she was they haven't announced it yet, but she's potentially getting the MVP of the league and the rising star of the Spanish league, which is like one of the best leagues in Europe. So you definitely cannot ignore that. And you have to understand it, that she's a generational talent.
After the expansion draft, you said that looking for more post players and also more point guards was going to be kind of the focus. Over the weekend, you added Carl Samuelson and Megan Gustafson. Do you feel that goal was attained, or do you think that there's still some more work to do in those positions?
I think we're very close. The camp will also show a lot, where players kind of, stack up. I'm very excited to see Sarah when she comes here. I think, she has a great chance to make our roster. Megan, another great addition. She can stretch the floor, coaches will love her. So we're still going to add more, players to our training camp roster. Hopefully we get to announce them in the next couple of days, and we see you at training camp on the 19th.
Vanja, is what the roster you have now is after you've gone through most of free agency and the draft, is that kind of in line with what you had been looking for going into free agency after the expansion draft, or were there some kind of things you tried to do that didn't work out and you had to pivot?
Yeah, I mean, free agency, I'm not gonna lie, there was a couple of no's and heartbreaks in the process, but it's, I want to thank all the players that kind of took their time and, were willing to meet with us and listen to our vision and what we're trying to achieve. But at the end, we have no history record, right? So there's nothing really to show or advocate for us. So it's been a very interesting process, and I would not be, even in players' shoes. They had 3 days to, go through this huge life-changing decisions. So we're very, very happy how today went and, how we're going to look on April 19th. I'm more afraid of the tough decisions that we're going to have to make, cutting from 18, 17 players that we're going to have to come down to 12. That's always the worst part of the job. But yeah, literally going into training camp, we're very open-minded and, giving every player that comes in equal opportunity to make the roster.
Vanja, you've been in this Portland community for a long time. For a year, is there anyone, when you look at this roster, expansion draft, college draft, that just screams Portland, the identity of Portland, and just that community, or multiple players if you have more?
Yeah, I don't want to point anyone out. I feel like our identity will be playing for each other, the grittiness, toughness, and just leaving our hearts out every game. So, at this stage, I really want, like I said before, training camp is about to start, and everyone should, get an equal opportunity. And I feel like fans will easily fall in love and kind of get behind our players, and we'll be super loud here at Moda every game.
This process last year as an assistant GM on a team that was an expansion squad. Obviously, there are a lot of differences this time around in terms of the timeline of things, but just what is the biggest difference for you going through this process over the last, 10 or so days as the GM this time?
How much time do we have? I think it's just the compression of time. Like we were just talking with the staff, I don't think any professional sport team has gone outside of Toronto and us has gone through what we have gone through in the last month or 3 weeks. It was just so intense, and it was it was a team effort. I cannot thank our team more than it's hard to express, and if I could, I would give you a glimpse of, what we went through. I wish cameras were there and, some documentary was happening behind, but I would, love everybody to kind of witness the amount of detail and attention and just collaboration went on in our rooms. Could not be prouder of the team and, everybody that's behind it. But yeah, the biggest difference, I would say, it's the unknowns. Like every question we had, you got 2 more questions back, So not knowing the timeline, not knowing the rules of the expansion draft, not knowing the protection, not knowing the CBA, and then all the logistics that comes with the CBA, are we housing, like, are we giving cars, or, even from where are we playing? So many shifting pieces that last year we just didn't have, but we made it through. So here we are, and can't wait to get some sleep tonight and be on the court back. We have our 4th practice tomorrow, which is, our coaches are like kids, not being in the office anymore for 9 hours a day. So I can't wait for all of you to come to practice and just feel the energy and the excitement that we get to feel for the last days.
Vanja, you said that you're going to add a couple more players before camp starts. Are those going to be kind of more, training camp, type invites, or are they going to be more like Megan and Carly that are like, solidly going to make the team?
Yeah, we intentionally are avoiding bringing players in just to fill a training camp spot. It's just, I don't think it's fair to the players, and then you have to waive, and it's hard. It's maybe selfishly from my end that I don't have to go through that, and kind of save myself the one more hard conversation. So anyone that we're bringing in, we actually believe they can, get a spot on the roster. So that's why I'm more afraid of the decisions we're going to have to make when the day comes, and we have to kind of narrow it down.
Good.
Can I ask one question? Do we know when Pancake is going to be in town?
We do. Can I get away? She's coming on Thursday.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vanja.